Angry Mgtow here. Today I've got co-host No Holds Bard, and we're talking about should men avoid sex with women entirely, and should men avoid sex with women entirely and push for gender segregation. I will let you start off with this.
Well, if guys don't want to have sex with girls, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But to have like the expectation that just because you don't want to get married, have kids, or let a woman take advantage of you, it doesn't mean that you have to push that onto other people or expect it of other Mgtow who share the same core beliefs. You know, like maybe getting pussy is just easier for some guys than others. And for some, they have to put in a lot more time, effort, and money. So it's really not worth it. Whereas other guys, they might be more attractive to women and might only have to put in minimal effort every now and then to have some sex. And it's kind of a bit more worth it for them, if you know what I mean. So I guess like the idea that Mgtow has, you know, anything to do with remaining sexless, yeah, I don't really agree with it. And, you know, to each their own. I don't care. Like, why? I don't give a fuck either way. If you fuck hundreds of girls or if you're a virgin, it just shouldn't matter. It should be taken out of the discussion because all you have are like the PUA Mgtows and the TFL Mgtows on the other end, all just bitching about how many girls they fuck or don't fuck, and it's kind of pathetic.
I don't really think TFLers are Mgtows, to be honest. I think because they're too lost in their own. I think they're too lost in their own victimization to be called Mgtow. Mgtow is a conscious decision that you're focusing on yourself, your own happiness, and going your own way. TFLers, they're basically saying they're TFLers because they can't get laid. They're forced to be lonely. So that I don't think that Mgtow and TFL is compatible. I think there's a lot of people who are TFLs that deviate to Mgtow. But if you're saying that you're a Mgtow because you can't get pussy, then that's not Mgtow. Mgtow is a conscious decision. Don't you agree with that?
There's like a fairly big difference, in my opinion, than guys who have had relationships and have had sex, and guys that just really, no matter what they do, it's just like pulling teeth and they can't get laid, and then they run to Mgtow and like they empathize with a lot of what we say. So it's like, yeah, well, like they obviously notice a lot of the negative attributes of females, and then they try and overtake the teachings of Mgtow and like push the idea that, you know, true Mgtow, they don't fuck women at all. Like they just fap, they have their fleshlights and porn and nothing else. Really, it's like, who gives a shit? Like, go do that all we want. Nobody cares. Just don't go like pushing it down other people's throats.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, as you say it like that, I think about it because it's interesting. Because you have to literally have a group of men who have trouble getting laid at all, and then so what they excel at is not getting laid. So then they say, well, you know what? We're gonna take our difficulty and make it into a strength. So not getting laid, not having sex, that's a positive. And real Mgtows don't do these things. That's absolute nonsense. The whole idea why the Mgtow philosophy came around, which by the way has been around long before the label, is just essentially another name for the classic bachelor who never got married, didn't have children, and focused on themselves and their own passion. It's been around for a long time. And then, you have these group of men who are just so afraid of their own shadows. Now they're basically saying, well, all men should avoid sex. I mean, it's just not feasible. It's not feasible. For me personally, I did it for a number of years. And I'm going to tell you something. When I spend all my time jerking off, it makes it hard. I feel like there's a difference. I don't know if you've experienced it before, but I feel like there's a difference. Like I'm less outgoing. I'm more nervous and anxious. It's harder for me to communicate. I don't know. Have you ever gone through that before?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, if you wank too much, it does something to you psychologically. If you I don't know about you guys, if you've ever whacked off like 5 times in a day, then that'll throw me out for like a couple of days afterwards where I'll just feel like shit. I'll not clean my room. I'll be living in my own filth and like, and I guess it's because it depletes your body of testosterone or whatever. It depletes that drive and you're just ready to curl up and go to sleep because that's what your brain does after you ejaculate. But if you save that cum and you go fuck a hooker like once every week or two, it's a completely different lifestyle. It's like, yeah, sure, you might be spending like $50 a week on a hooker, but you're gonna have like a bit more motivation to earn money in the first place to go fuck a hooker.
Exactly.
It's not like there's no correlation between, you know, getting laid in a cost efficient way and getting married, which is like, you know, the way I see it is like, I do a bit of maths in my head. I'm like, well, what's the cost per route of this girl I'm dating? Is she more expensive than a prostitute? If I have to spend a little bit of money on her or whatever, like not even like me being like overtly generous or whatever, just like, oh, I happen to buy her a drink, maybe she'll get me one or she won't, whatever. Like there's like you just do maths and it's like, well, are you willing to, you know, take a girl out for dinner and then fuck her, and then next time you ask her to pay, and then if she doesn't, she's a cunt and you stop seeing her. It's like fairly simple. I mean, like I just see it as really a cost per route like spreadsheet in my mind, and I do understand that like in most cases, definitely I would say most cases, most girls aren't worth the cost per route. Not just in terms of money, but in also terms of time, like texting them, trying to play their mind games. Most of the time, I would say it's a negative return investment and can't be fucked. But there are times where it's like, you know, especially when it's like summer and everyone's out drinking. Anyway, you go out to have drinks with your friends or whatever, and you just happen to bump into a girl. You have a few drinks together, and then you go have sex or whatever, and it's like cost efficient. But then when you have a girlfriend, there's like all these other expectations. You have a wife, there's all these other expectations. Then it's not cost efficient. So it's just really like it's about business.
You know, I'll tell you something. For me, also, I've banged different hookers, and it's funny because like I get tired of the same thing. If I bang the same hooker more than once or twice, I start wanting to try something a little bit different. Even if it doesn't matter how nice her body is, doesn't matter how great her pussy is, you know, my mind says, okay, I want to try something different. And a lot of guys are like, it's funny when you're not getting pussy, when you're not having sex, you're desperate for any little bit of sex you can get. When sex is readily available, you don't see women as anything special. You're like, okay, so what? I fucked her. You know, I want to try something different. It's kind of like having a sandwich and eating a different sandwich. Like, yeah, I had bologna yesterday. Today I want to have a little tuna, or you know, I want to have chicken. You ever go through that?
Well, yeah, it's a good analogy because it's like, well, I think like, you know, the kind of girl that I don't like is like the overpriced restaurant where you get like a tiny piece of steak and a really shitty salad. It looks really pretty. It's presented well. It's really expensive, and you're not going to get a lot of nutrients from that. So it's like, well, maybe that's because that's just like not your taste, out of your price range. Then you can just go to like a pub and get like a fairly decent burger. It's not a whole lot of money, not a huge investment. It's going to have a lot more calories, more bang for your buck. And obviously you're going to want variety as well. You don't want to eat a fucking burger every day because like it's fattening or whatever. And maybe sometimes you want a salad. I don't know.
You know, it's funny. I think that, you know, if you're a man, if just a human being in general, if a human being, you know, doesn't eat every day or is having a hard time getting their meals, if they're starving, then just eating a sandwich, eating that bologna sandwich every, you know, once a day or every couple of days will be, it'll be desirable for them because they're having, food is rare for them in the first place. Like, just eating is difficult. So they're going to basically literally fight over just a shitty bologna sandwich. But once they've been eating on a regular basis, it doesn't really matter anymore. It doesn't matter if it's escargot. Once you have a surplus and you're not chasing it, it's not such a rare thing to you anymore. You're going to say, well, it doesn't matter if it's escargot. It doesn't matter if it's shrimp, I'd like to try something different. Your mindset changes when it comes to women. It changes when it comes to sex. So that's where I'm at right now, where, for example, I fucked this one chick. She's beautiful, tight body, nice tits, great ass, very pretty in the face, really great. Sucks my dick, rides me, and at the end of the day, the funny thing is, like, I'm already tired of her. I fucked her twice. I'm already tired of her, and I'd like to try something different. That's just how it is. And I think that a lot of these guys in Mgtow, many of them are at the point where they've also just kind of given up, and they've come to Mgtow after bad relationships, and I think a lot of them have just kind of given up. And I don't know what really to say to those guys, but there's a saying, misery loves company. But we're not here because we're miserable. We're here because we're just following the philosophy. Mgtow is not a place for you to come to find men who are necessarily here to support you. We're here to basically support ourselves and to share the things that we've learned. Can you find support in this community? Sure you can, but that's not what Mgtow is about. Mgtow is literally going your own way. I had an interesting experience where I heard from this guy who basically told me some pretty cool things, and then he asked me not to contact him, don't reach out to him. And that was it, because he's going his own way. And I mean, for example, he's going his own way. That's exactly it. We're not friends. We're not buddies. Or, and he doesn't want to have a continued conversation. He's going his own way. That's what Mgtow is. We are going our own way, not together. There are some men going in the same direction, but it doesn't mean that we're all holding hands and skipping our way together.
Well, yeah, another argument or point that I think that, like, what should, like, the chronic masturbators, I guess the appropriate name, is they will say that, like, they don't want to expend energy, like any energy on women, which, fair enough. Spend as little energy on women as you have to. But, like, if you're, personally for me, if I was to go, like, months or years without having sex, I'd be mentally preoccupied with trying to have sex. And I bet you, like, a lot of these guys that say that, like, they don't have any interest in sex, to the ones that are being truthful and they're being genuine, good on them. I don't, like, that's cool. That's fine. I think that's respectable. But I think a lot of people, a lot of men in Mgtow would likely be, like, masturbating like 5 times a day and then be saying, oh, they don't spend any time or energy on women. Well, yeah, you just spend like 2.5 hours fapping it with, like, your sex toy or whatever, which is fine as well. I don't have anything against that, but it's like don't lie about it and make it seem like it's motivated from a higher consciousness, that you're more involved, that you're more of a Mgtow. Or it's like, I think it's not the case in a lot of cases.
I think that and I mean, I used to be one of those guys too. I mean, as a Mgtow monk, I was jerking off maybe sometimes 10 times a day, which I know you're gonna.
Your foreskin ripped or some shit. I heard you say in the podcast.
Multiple times. I would get bloody multiple times, and I would get bloody, and I would still keep going through it. It'd take me like a week or 2 to heal sometimes.
It's not very monk-like or enlightening, is it?
That's the funny thing, though, because a lot of guys seem to think, well, you disassociate yourself with sex, and it just becomes an impulse. You get, you deal with the impulse, and you're good to go, and you move on with your life. But it's not true. If you're jerking off to a woman, if you're jerking off to porn all the time, but then saying that you have no sexual desire, or no desire for a woman, that's an absolute lie. That's an absolute lie. And I didn't realize it until I went out and, dude, I was, all right, so I've been on drugs for PTSD, anxiety, all this stuff. And I'm still, I was extremely, extremely miserable, like extraordinarily miserable. And, you know, I was lying to, maybe I had to have been lying to myself, because I got to the point where it's like, okay, I've been doing this for years and I'm extremely miserable to the point of suicide. I said, okay, I'm suicidal now. So you know what? Let me go fuck. I'm gonna try. The last thing I can do is try to fuck a woman. Maybe, you know, I'll break the monk lifestyle, because I don't get any points for being a monk. I don't care what these guys say. Oh, you're so amazing, angry for being a monk. That doesn't mean anything to me. If I'm miserable, I'm gonna do whatever I can to fix it. So I went out and I fucked a hooker, and literally after I did it, something was like, there was just like a lot of pressure on me, and I suddenly realized that all those years, even though I was saying I wasn't obsessed with sex, even though I was saying I didn't need it, even though I was saying all of this shit, it was literally affecting my mental state severely. And then, you know, Turd Flinging Monkey, he's a great guy. I respect the shit out of him, but I disagree with him as I'm getting older. I'm beginning to disagree with him about the whole lizard brain thing, in the sense that all of us can learn how to just turn it off and basically become almost like automated machines that don't have to you know, deal with those urges beyond you know, masturbation can take care of all of that. That's a lie. I just don't believe it. I think that there's a strong relationship between our mental state and our physical state. And like you said, your body knows the difference between when you fuck a woman and when you jerk off. Your mind knows there's a difference, and it does something to your testosterone levels. It does something to your mental state. You know, yesterday I had a really fucked up, or the day before I had a really fucked up, something fucked up happened with a woman, and I was like, you know what? And even today something fucked up happened with a woman, and I was like, well, fuck it. But if I had been jerking off all the time, I'd probably be completely depressed and, you know, wrapped up in these thoughts now. But now I'm just like, oh, well, fuck it. Again, it's like two very different mental states. When you're actually fucking women, you tend to actually care less what they do. You're less responsive to a woman when you're actually having sex with them on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, it's definitely true that, like, I reckon, yeah, your brain definitely knows subconsciously that you're trying to trick it into thinking you're fucking when you're masturbating. So I think, like, the more you do it and the longer you go without having sex, the more you just masturbate. It's cognitive dissonance where, like, you feel uneasy. You feel like you need something real. Where it's like, if you're masturbating all the time, you're always constantly thinking of sex. But if you're not actually getting it, but you're trying to trick your brain into thinking you're doing it, it kind of has like a bit of like a response mechanism where it's kind of makes a stand, and it's like, I will not let you be tricking me anymore. I'm going to make you feel like shit. If you keep, I'm going to make you feel unmotivated, lousy, until, you know, you can come to peace with the fact that you don't need sex, which I think a very small percentage of men actually have achieved, or you go bang a girl and do it in an efficient and safe, low-risk way.
You know, I'm going to say, first off, I strongly disagree with circumcision. I strongly disagree with circumcision, but I begin to question. I've wondered for some time in the past if they circumcised men, because I mean there were times there's a lot of historical evidence that, you know, men were circumcised in some cultures to prevent them from masturbating. And you have to ask yourself, why did they want to prevent men so badly from masturbating? And you have to wonder if people back then noticed that the men who chronically masturbated were less motivated to actually go out and do anything.
Yeah, probably were. I mean, like, I try and go like a few days a week where I just don't do it at all, and I generally feel better like those days. I have a friend who doesn't do it like at all, maybe like once a month. Like, to me, that's fucking insane. Like, I couldn't do that. So I guess everyone has their own like their own limit of what they would accept as like excessive or like not enough. For me, I do it like maybe like 4 times a week. I used to maybe do it like pretty much every day, but like I don't like doing it every day because it like I just notice difference in my like my energy, and the way I feel. And yeah, like there's no way that, you know, by how many girls you fuck or don't fuck, it makes you more or less of a Mgtow. All that matters is, are you being a simp, a mangina? Like, how do you go about fulfilling your sex drive without, you know, resorting to being excessively gynocentric? Or, you know, that like I personally don't like the idea of virtual reality porn. Like, I don't have anything against it, but I've used a few sex toys like pocket pussies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of find them a bit disgusting, and like I feel a bit sad after after I use them. I'm like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, it was embarrassing. Like, I reckon it'd be less embarrassing to just go fuck a fat chick or something. Like, I'd like go spread some love. Like, make a fat chick stay instead of fucking a little rubber tube. I don't know. That's just me.
So do you have the video? You have the comments open?
Yeah.
All right, just read some of the interact with the people in the comments for a moment. I need to take a piss. Go ahead.
All right. I think that's comments. Deep Throat Tenga. I don't really know what to say to that. I saw a bitch took 100 cream pie into her pussy. Well, that's a lot of jizz. No holds barred. Hey man, how you doing? I'm doing okay. Yeah, I keep getting fucking banned off of every channel I'm on, but other than that, I'm fine. It's quite annoying. That's why I don't have my videos up, because any one of them can get flagged and my channel will get taken down. So I'm just going to wait till the flags are removed and I can put them back up. Any other comments? Is it bad that I still love women despite everything I learned from Mgtow? Especially feminist women. I just love how they live in denial. Yes, it is bad that you love women. You should not love women. No, I'm just kidding. I don't give a shit. Personally, I find like I don't think I'm capable of loving a woman. Like it just it seems like a waste of energy now. Like the fantasy is destroyed. Like the carrot is gone. From that, in terms of my motivation for that. NHB is the best. What happened to your channel? Well, I just keep getting flagged, mate, and you know, I just thought I'll take them all off. I had another channel called Dick the Prick, that got nearly 100,000 views in 3 weeks, 2,000 subs. It was taking off. I was like, finally, I'm gonna have an income from YouTube. And I got 3 strikes in 4 days, and my channel just fucking disappeared off the planet. Like the atheist Drew, like atheism is unstoppable. I don't know if you guys listen to him in the audience, but his channel just got fucking banned out of nowhere. So it's happening all over the place. My opinion is that any straight white male with an honest opinion that doesn't tiptoe around people's niceties and sensitivities is a fucking target. I'm surprised. On that note, I'm surprised you haven't been taken down your channel.
You know,
How many have you had strikes? Like I swear, like your channel is one of the most flaggable accounts, and you're just still there, and you're allowed to do hangouts and everything. I haven't been allowed to do hangouts for years.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's how I get, dude. The thing is, I get around this stuff. Like a lot of people deal with that. I get around this stuff very carefully. For example, I avoid directly attacking people, like saying, "Oh, she's a fucking bitch," or "He's a dick," or blah blah blah. I basically I do it in a very backwards hand, reversed way. I'll outright laugh at people. You know, you just have to do it in a certain way to avoid the strikes. That's how I do it. Like, I don't come right out and say it, because then they can say you're offending someone. Keep in mind, on YouTube, if you look at the guidelines, you cannot report someone for simply saying something mean. So you can't say well, this person's opinions are absolutely ridiculous, blah 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 blah. If you can basically say mean things, but it's all about how you say them. So that's how I've gotten away with a lot of this. I mean, I haven't gotten any community guideline strikes on this account. The only strikes that I've gotten have been for copyright violations. One was from Monisha Rajesh, who reported me for using an image from her Twitter page when she basically said that President Trump should be assassinated. And I appealed that. That went away. There was also another strike I got from Cheap Living RV for basically using his video and doing commentary on that. I appealed that. That strike went away as well. Keep in mind, guys like Mgtow 101, they use tons of copyright material from even Fox News, all different sources, and they basically keep appealing their strike and they keep on winning. So there's a trick to the appeal. And also, for personally, I think community guideline strikes are a lot worse than copyright strikes, because with copyright strikes, it's all about how you appeal them. As long as you transform the original work to some degree, then you can typically appeal that strike. But with a community guideline strike, if you say something that's very racist or, you know, or transphobic, again, you can disagree with someone's lifestyle, but when you start calling someone, let's say, a specific word, then that's when they'll come after you. You just have to kind of learn how to play with it, play within the limits. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, but with my other channel, I really did enjoy ejaculating on people's faces with a cartoon penis and just hurling insults. Like, it just gave me, that's what motivates me. That's what motivates me at my core, is to piss people off. It's a real fun hobby.
I understand that, and I love doing it too. But you have to maintain some level of self-control, and you have to learn how to play the game. I mean, if you're gonna go along the lines of, well, I'm just gonna do it my way, and then, or else fuck it, then, you know, you'll be censored. That's how they operate on YouTube. So you have to learn how to play. You have to learn how to navigate around. I mean, even with my videos, most of my videos are monetized. Dude, like, one of the only videos that ever got demonetized on my channel was a video where I was talking about, this is actually funny, actually. I made a video discussing male rape victims, and the video got demonetized. That, you know, I said that, like, this male rape victim was a liar, and the video got demonetized. And then I didn't appeal it, and then it was reviewed and remonetized. That was like, what the
fuck? Someone in YouTube loves you, man. You got a guardian angel working for YouTube, I reckon. Well, but one of the things that I find interesting is, you know, Steve Shives, obviously.
Oh gosh, that cuck.
So he makes videos where he has condoned punching Nazis, calls people pieces of shit, like, literally. That's not an argument, he's hurling an insult. And I've tried to get his channel flagged so many times. But I think that, like, there's certain people that, like, because he's ugly and pathetic and, like, you know, he's just Steve Shives, YouTube looks at it and they automatically think, oh, he's the victim. Like, even though he's an absolute cunt.
Okay.
Sorry for saying that word on your channel.
There's a secret.
You know,
there's a big secret to it. Let me tell you something about my account. My account is worth more to YouTube than a lot of people with 100,000 subscribers. Did you know that?
Yeah, because you upload frequency, now how long your videos are.
Exactly. My upload frequency, the number of views that, I mean, my channel sometimes generates 1 million views a month, which is something that a lot of channels with 100,000 viewers, sometimes more, are unable to generate. So they basically look at that and say, Well, it's about the Benjamins. How much money are you making for us? They notice that. And sometimes I'm literally shocked at how fast YouTube now responds to like my complaints. If I complain about something, I'll hear from like a community manager like, hi, blah, 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 blah. This has happened and this is what you need to do. And I mean, it's not always perfect, but it comes down to money. Like if you make money for YouTube, YouTube looks at your account as being more valuable. If you're, for example, if your account's not monetized, they literally let you know if your account's not monetized, you can't even like appeal certain things. Like you can't appeal certain decisions. Like if you get flagged and you get taken out, like copyright things, like if you're not monetized, they're like, you're out of luck. It comes down to money in some cases. It comes down
you get a lot of views. Like I did a video on Emily Hart on my Dick the Prick channel, and straight after I made it, I started reading the comments under the video, and there were people like hurling abuse at her from all directions and like being heaps honest, funny. I was like, yes, people are waking up. And then I see that it was because you brought a lot of traffic there because you did a video on that exact video. It got like 200, I think it had like 230,000 views. And it brings value to YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it absolutely does. And again, they look at it, they're like, they have their own way of doing things. They'll look at, how much money is your account been making? How much traffic does your account generate? And how important are you? And I think that they say I think they figure that if you're putting out a lot of content, you're basically more of you're a channel that actually has something to lose. In other words, which means that they see more value in you. You're more reasonable because this is a part of your livelihood. And plus they have all your information versus a smaller channel that they'll see, well, you're not regularly putting out content. You're not making money for us. So again, they'll see your channel as more of a spam channel, and sometimes that happens too, because like sometimes your videos will get flagged for no reason whatsoever when you're like a very small channel, but then you have big channels like Leafy that literally say that people are downright pieces of shit, and they never get flagged because of the size of his channel. And I think that there's something specific about those really giant accounts that definitely have like some type of protection, because Leafy's channel has to get flagged by like 100 or thousands of people on a daily basis, and YouTube is well aware of this, so they probably have something in place to prevent it from overloading their system. Like they're like, yeah, this channel's gonna get flagged a million
times. The three videos that brought down my Dick the Prick channel was real men hit women, so it had men hitting women back in self-defense. There's another one on Steve Shives, another one on a feminist called Coralie Allison. I think I called her a filthy slut. I've called Steve. I said that Steve Shives gets pegged in the ass by his wife, and the other one was just because it was men hitting women, and I had dudes laughing as it was happening. So it's basically, I don't think anyone's safe. Like, I don't think you're safe either, because like atheism is unstoppable. He had he had like 75,000 subscribers. And he had a lot of traffic. He would produce pretty much daily videos as well. And actually, I think he actually got his final flag from a Mgtow, because he did a video called, it was like gender confused trans Mgtow talking. And I just like played this video of like this guy I'd never heard of before. And apparently that guy flagged his channel for her speech. So it's fucking everywhere. Like, I think that Mgtow's like free speech and anti-political correctness. There's some people that claim to be Mgtow that will flag your content if they don't like it. It's probably up to me.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm not saying anyone is extremely safe. That's why, like I said, I'm very careful with the way I use my words. I can reverse, like for example, Shoe on Head. There was a video when I talked about when I didn't say that she had AIDS. In fact, in the video I said that I am not in any way suggesting that Shoe on Head has AIDS. I'm just asking the question if it's possible that she might have HIV or potentially full-blown AIDS, because she's been in a relationship with Skeptic, and we don't know if she's actually been tested. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, yeah.
It's all, it's all about how you say it. And then Lauren Southern came after me afterwards, and she was like, I'm not saying Angry Mgtow was a faggot. I'm just saying he's possibly a massive faggot. In other words, a play on words. It's all about how you, it's all about, now that's something that she could have been flagged for, but it's all about how you play on words. And you know, if you basically do it from a backwards, reverse-handed perspective, you can do these things. But if you come outright and say it,
it's got to annoy you though. It annoys me that, like, you know, you put out content all the time, you say interesting stuff. I had like another channel where I'm animating, I'm making cartoons, I'm trying to make it funny. So much knowledge and entertainment value. Then you can have some blonde, dumb bitch say the most fucking obvious stuff that we've been saying for years, and she'll get like 20,000 views on her first video, and she'll be on like 20,000 subscribers within a few weeks, just because she's like half decent looking when she cakes her face full of makeup. And she'll never get flagged. She's a pretty little girl, and it doesn't matter if she offends people or whatnot. YouTube will look at the flags and be like, oh, it's just like a harmless girl. It does, like, I can see how like men translate that into hatred of women, because like I don't hate women because of it, but I can see how it can translate into that, because it's very disheartening that you have guys that put in so much effort to make videos, to make interesting content, and then you can have like all these doll-faced bimbos that will get so much traffic just for having a pretty smile on their face and saying obvious stuff that we've been saying forever. And that's why I think a lot of people do get annoyed when Mgtow channels talk to females, because they don't really deserve the recognition that they get.
Well, you know, from my perspective, think about this carefully. You know, me talking to, let's say, Barbara for you to see, or a lot of these other channels, they have Roaming Millennial. They have subscriber bases that are significantly larger than my own. So I actually gain more talking to them than anything else, especially if they retweet the video afterwards. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
You know, so, you know, people are like, oh, you're giving them a platform. No, they're giving me a platform.
Yeah, yeah. But like that's the thing. I understand why. Like, I'm not saying I agree with them. Like, I've had girls on my channel a couple of times, but like when I talk to some dumb American, whatever, like I make it, you know, a note that, you know, you can't show your face, because like we can't show our faces generally. Like, we're not allowed to. Like, there's like social stigma around it. They have freedom to show their faces, and not only that, but it brings them more traffic and popularity, and helps them make money as well.
I understand where you're coming from. It's obviously hypocrisy. I've just learned how to live with it and work with it. You know, I mean, for example, I love when they show their face. I always tell Beast Mama to get her tits out when she comes on, so it'll get me more views. Again. You know, dude, I'm quite honest. I am quite honest, because, you know, if I can't use my looks, then I'll use theirs. That's exactly it. You just have to learn how to play the game. We live in a hypocritical society, so basically learn how to play the game to the best of your abilities. You can cry about it, or you can learn how to take advantage of it.
Well, yeah, like with my other channel that I've been focusing on that for like 6 weeks or whatever. So it's like where I've been making all my content, but like pretty much every single one of those videos had a fairly attractive female that it was like bagging. So it was like basically using their undeserved high social status, their sex appeal, being a prick and bring them down from behind a keyboard, which is really fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. Now, at the same time, you know, getting back to the topic that we're talking about, should men avoid sex with women entirely and push for gender segregation? To be honest with you, modern women are fucked up. Modern women are extremely fucked up. And I've said it and I'll say it again. And when I bring women on, when I talk to them, I think that there are some women, like, for example, a bit of Brit says women are fucked up. Women are fucked up. You know, she's outright said women need to apologize to men. She doesn't pretend to be in the wall. She talks about the fact that she did all these things. you know. But and I think that when you get to that point where you have a woman that's admitting, yeah, we're fucked up, we are fucked up people. What more do you really want? I think that there's a lot of guys that are just at the point where they just hate these women. What do you think?
It's hard to describe like an emotion. Anonymous men, I don't know. And I kind of like, you know, does a man that I don't know hate women? I don't know, probably. Does he always hate women, like every moment during the day? Probably not. Like, you know, it's like there'll be moments where like you can hate interaction, you can hate a specific woman, you can hate some kind of hypocrisy, and have a healthy, justified negative emotional feeling towards whatever's occurring. Doesn't mean that you hate women or that you know, like it's such a blanket statement, and it's used by feminists so much to really discredit any criticism of women that I just refrain from accusing men of hating women, period. Like I don't really do it. I'll accuse feminists of hating men because it's funny, and like, you know, the way they dish it out towards men all the time, misogyny, blah blah blah. It's easy and fun to just throw it back in their face. It's like, it's a weak argument, not gonna lie, but like it's you know, I do it as like a taunting mechanism. It's not really to get under their skin. But I don't even really go around saying that a whole lot. But like, you know, there's a lot of men that would have negative emotions towards females in general. Doesn't mean they hate them. But when, like, I think it's damaging when it starts to kind of they let it affect them in ways that, you know, they really just shouldn't let it affect them.
You know, something that really frightens me about getting banned from the YouTube or getting banned on a YouTube channel. When I one of the reasons why I closed the original Mgtow United channel, there were a bunch of reasons. But one thing that constantly petrified me was this. I was talking to this guy named, I believe his name was Nick from Google. And he told me, I had the email. He literally told me, if you ever have your YouTube account banned, if you ever have a YouTube account banned, you may never create another YouTube account ever again. Obviously, people do that. But again, they're saying that if you ever have one account banned, you may never create another one again, meaning that you can't be a part of their partner program. And if maybe some people have snuck back in, but if they find out, they can and will terminate you. And the thing is, dude, as we're moving towards more of a social media, social-centric world, there's a lot of money to be made on YouTube. And I would hate to ever lose the ability to use YouTube as a platform. Not everyone can be successful on YouTube. I'll be very clear. There's a lot of people who just are never going to be successful on YouTube because it takes a lot. But once you learn how to use it, there are some people who can, like me, who can actually, you know, have had some fairly good success. There's other people who've had monumental success. And when you factor that, when you think about those things, you know, I would hate to ever be banned. For example, now that you've lost your account, that account, I don't know if you can ever have another account. Are you still monetized with your no holds bar account?
Yeah, my strategy though is like I give verbal consent in every one of my new videos for other people to download and mirror my videos. So I'm not so much about making money, more about like getting my videos out there. So if like because I know that channel will be banned again soon because I've already got all my Dick the Prick videos back up on YouTube. Okay. And everyone has my like full permission to download them and mirror them. Like that to me is like, I see it as kind of like a fun hobby, like a fun way to annoy people with a cartoon penis. It sounds kind of fucked up, but that's all I do it for. Like at the moment, I just like enjoy the annoying factor. I want to annoy people that I don't like, and it works so well because that's a good sign in a way to me. Is like if I'm getting flagged, that means I'm pissing off people that I really want to piss off. That's like the goal of that channel, is to piss off people that I don't like. So that is kind of, in a way, it's in a fucked up twist of irony that like getting banned in itself is kind of a reward. It's like, yeah, thank you.
There it is. Oh my gosh, I hear what you're saying. For me, honestly, I mean, I'm doing this as a full-time job right now, and I love it. I love not having to go to, I love not having to wake up in the morning and go to a job. I never ever want to do a 9 to 5 ever again. If I ever go into a business, it has to be mine. I have to set the standard. I have to be the boss. And but I never ever want to do the 9 to 5 thing ever again. It's a miserable way of living, and those jobs are disappearing. I mean, millennials today are extremely fucked. Now, trying to get back on topic about, you know, avoiding women entirely, I just don't see, you know, honestly, here's something that fucked up my life a lot. In the whole time when I became a Mgtow monk, I was trying to avoid women. But the thing is, by trying to avoid women, I began avoiding social places, coffee shops, places that I would enjoy going, even the gym. Oh shit, women go to this gym. There's not a lot of all male gym, so can't go to the gym. Women are, you know, outside. They're all over the place, so I'm not going to go outside as much. Shoots, women are at the coffee shop, and I love going to the coffee shop, and, you know, gotta avoid the coffee shop. Shoots, you know, there are women working at the cashier counter.
I think it's all right to avoid women, but as long as you do it in a way that doesn't negatively affect your own life. Like, if you don't go to the gym because women are there, then you're gonna be less fit. It's kind of bad for you. But like for me, it's like I don't know about you, but if you've ever worked in a male-only working environment and compare it to a female and male working environment, it's just like a world of difference. It's just amazing. So like a priority is like try and find a male-only working environment, and that's like a huge chunk of your life where you're with no effort required, you're just avoiding women because they're not there. So like, to me, that's a good logical step Mgtow can make to avoid women, is just like choose a job where they're not there.
It's hard. It's very difficult to do that, though. Choosing a job where there are no women. I mean, you know, I wanted to be a doctor. Women are, it's miserable in the medical field right now. They literally are. They're like, I don't want to use the word cockroaches, but I mean, they're all over. Embedded themselves in the medical field. You can't avoid them at all. I mean, and it's like that in most fields now. They're there. And even in the fields where there's only a few women, the few women in those fields, they create so much stress for men because they're basically saying oppression, unfairness, you know, I'm not being treated equally, I'm not being treated fairly, even though they're not making, you know, they become a physicist. A woman becomes a physicist and she makes literally no breakthroughs. And then she basically says that she's being oppressed. You've got to be kidding. You know, she's not being treated fairly. The men get paid.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up like a core concept that I think is like the next healthy wave of Mgtow. Is like you say it a lot. It's so true. It's like women don't have the capacity that men have. Full stop. You get any of the top 5 female athletes in any sport, any athletic event, and there'll be thousands of men that will kick their ass at it. They only are given the privilege of being able to be a professional athlete because they have a vagina, G-rated. They have a vagina between their legs. So it's like they are literally, and that doesn't stop at sport either. It's applied to academia, like where and it's applied in the workplace.
You know, my friend a few years ago, he made this correlation. He said that women say that they're equal to men, and they say like they want to play in, for example, they start playing in the PGA tournaments, and they're like, oh, this is a big triumph for women. Women are showing they're just as good as men by playing in the PGA, even though they're ranking at the very bottom. And then my friend said, you know, they say this shit, and then let some scrub from the men's side go over there, and the scrub will start winning every tournament. I mean, it's the honest truth. Like the worst male player in the PGA will go over to the LPGA and start winning every single game. And it's absolutely true. I mean, a few years ago, there was this there was this what do you call her? There was this this person who was a track star, and she was like, you know, breaking records in the world of women runners. Do you remember this? She was from Africa.
Yeah, she's probably on steroids, testosterone.
Oh, no. It turned out she was born supposedly both a male and a female. Yeah. And yeah, it was pretty it's frightening. She was born a male and a female. And so basically she was technically male, and they were saying, you know, that she needs to go and take care of that. And basically she was essentially expelled from the world of competition. And the same thing is happening, I think, in the UFC too. It happened recently where some guy decided that he's a transgender woman, and now he's competing in the women's division of the UFC, and he's beating the hell out of all these women. And it's downright ridiculous. Like, you know, when you take men and women and you say a man is equal to a woman and you put men against women, they can't compete.
And yeah, like, see this conversation we're having right now? It's like, it's interesting, it's truthful. There's nothing like insulting that's not based on evidence and facts. And a lot of Mgtow, they'll say this stuff on the internet and they won't say it in real life at all. But I tell you what, I had a date with a girl a few weeks ago, and she was like a engineer. I was having a conversation with her, and she was like, and for some reason I brought up the fact that I have a lot of controversial views, and she's like what? I'm like, well, I think men are vastly more intelligent than females. And like, it's just like, I can't explain it, but there's such an adrenaline rush to say that to a woman's face that like, I really enjoy it. And then like you can see that, like, I could see that she was like taken aback a bit, and like then like I justify my my rationale and everything, explain, you know, oh yeah, well the more she's like, women get better grades, and like, yeah, well, the more females are on a university degree, the lower the overall IQ is of that given degree. And she's like, I'm not stupid, like I'm an engineer. I'm like, yeah, it's a male dominated degree. You're like, there's probably like 1 in 10 people are females. Am I correct? She's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, well, exactly. So like, you can justify, like, you can explain this to women. Not all of them will burst out and like, a lot of like, because it's not done enough. Like, that's something like I think needs to be done, is for men to just say that stuff to women's face when it's like socially appropriate and you're not going to get fired or fucking, I don't know, a beer poured in your face or some shit.
You know, I'll tell you, it's frightening. The difference between men and women from a cognitive perspective is frightening. I mean, growing up, I was not incredible at math, but I can do more with algebra than a female engineer can do with calculus in terms of practical application. It's absolutely crazy, and you'll literally see it. It's, you know, women complain about it all the time, where they'll say, I had a 3.7 GPA in college, and a guy with a 2.5 is now working for Lockheed Martin. If that doesn't show oppression, then what else does? How about this one? You had a 3.7 GPA because you could basically regurgitate, but when it comes down to practical application, you don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do with it. Women have no ability to actually conceive and to create. I mean, women, Turfling Monkey basically says that women are mimickers. That's what they excel at. They mimic. They can copy and copy and copy. When it actually comes down to having an original thought and making a decision, that's not something women are good at. That's something that creation, innovation, these are literally a man's forte. At the very best, a woman is good at assisting.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Talk to the people. Like, you talk to the people in comments. I gotta piss again.
Women cannot teach as well. Yeah, I guess that's true. Women should be encouraged into STEM, not shoehorn. I don't necessarily agree with that. Even after feminism, what have women ever created of value? Nothing. See, something that people bring up when you say that 95% of the innovation in the world has been done by men, they'll say that it's because females have been oppressed, unable to get a good education. And interestingly, if you do a bit more research, you can find out that within engineering and STEM field degrees, when you confine innovation to people with a STEM field degree, you still find a similar ratio. 80% of the innovation is done by men. So there is a biological factor that is ignored. What are your thoughts on Roosh V? I don't mind him. I think he's all right. I think it was bullshit that he got banned from Australia from doing his talk. Not that I would have gone, but you know, I would have liked to watch it on YouTube or hear about it. I think he does some good work too, like how he just I forgot what he was doing, but how he was just trolling the shit out of feminists in Canada a year or two ago, driving them absolutely insane. I think he needs to shave his beard though. I mean, that's just I guess like a an aesthetic choice. I mean, I hate having a beard. I can smell a beard when it grows on my face. I just feel constantly sweaty. Women want the same pay across fields basically when they complain about the wage gap in its real terms. What? He made a video on why women are being educated. Yeah, I saw that a few weeks ago. Didn't mind it. Because it is a waste of energy to an extent to invest disproportionate energy educating females when they have less output potential. Especially when, like, you know, I believe that the planet's overpopulated, but white countries, Western countries, their countries are obviously in a state of decline, so they import people from other countries to make up for it, lowers the minimum wage, etc. What are your thoughts on Amanda Wolf, child, denying human nature? I'm not too familiar with her or him, whatever the fuck he is.
Okay, so
and his opinions on
Amanda
that.
Wolfchild, let me tell you about her quickly. So basically, I've been arguing with her a few times, and she basically says men and women are equal. Women are just as creative as men. She said that women are.
Oh yeah. I think I heard you do that podcast with her actually, like a couple of days ago or something.
Yeah, she said women are the ones who invented tools, and then she showed me. She's like,
yeah, like the wheel.
Exactly, and she's like, you know, she said that, for example, evidence shows, like in this current primate group, that females are the ones who innovate tools because men tend to use their hands because they're stronger. And it's very possible, and since they're like related to men, it's very likely that this is the same thing that happened with women. So women maybe are very likely the ones.
This is the analogy I was thinking in my head while I was listening to it. So you've got a bottle, right? That contains water or alcohol or something, and on the top of the bottle is a lid. Now, in order for that bottle to function, it needs the lid, but the lid is far, you know, smaller than the bottle itself. So the male contribution is like the bottle, and the female contribution is like the lid. It kind of like it's required for the bottle to exist and function properly, but it's such a small, insignificant part of the bottle. Like the bottle will still have 90% of its use without the lid. They just can't tip it over, etc. A lid by itself is completely useless. So that's my point.
It's a great analogy, and it's absolutely true. The truth is that women have created absolutely nothing of value in this world. They continuously create nothing of value. There's no historic proof. I remember them arguing that female Vikings made up half of all Vikings in the past, based on some evidence that didn't actually prove any of that. It's frightening these days. I was looking at something on Twitter where someone basically did someone basically did a report proving that there was no gender gap, and they used a bunch of business sources from different business sources proving there's no literal gender gap, gender wage gap, and they got like an F on the paper, and the professor responded saying, you shouldn't be using those sources, you should only be using feminist sources. I mean, dude, it's psychotic. I mean, I remember when I was, at one point I was studying counseling. I was like, I was studying psychology. I have a master's in psych. And one of the things that frightened me, I was reading a book on counseling. It was homework. And something that they do in counseling, they basically talk about the feminist perspective and basing everything, including diagnosis and treatments, around the feminist perspective, which a lot of people in the counseling field question because there's no empirical proof behind that, and it's also biased. I mean, they're basically trying to throw out any logic or rationality and replace reason with their beliefs and then call them facts.
Yeah, do you know the term solipsism?
I do not.
Solipsism is a word that is used to describe the mindset of an individual who thinks that creators of reality. So basically, women are very solipsistic. They see reality and they think that their feelings dictate what reality is. What men do is they try and observe reality and understand it. And I think that's a huge difference from the male and female perspective, is that men are creators because they create things physically, and females are consumers, but they think they are creating the entire fucking universe. So they project so much more than men do because of their emotional instability, their narcissism, and the fact that they have social movements and social support that encourages that placebo effect, if you will, of their constant rationalization of irrational thoughts. Mm-hmm. And it spirals into insanity.
Yeah, I was trying to have this conversation with Amanda Wildchild, and she was talking about the fact that men don't cry enough, and women statistically are proven to basically better express themselves. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you guys are you're so foolish. You don't I literally had her admitting that if men behaved like women and basically sat around crying whenever things happen, there'd be big problems, which she admitted. But then she said it's like she's trying to rationalize that it doesn't matter. Women are still better because they do it. Even though it would create major social problems if men behaved like women, it doesn't matter because women are still scientifically proven to communicate better because of this, which is an absolute lie. I mean, I'll put it this way. They did a study, NASA did a study, and they found that women they basically put a group of scientists in a pod, and they simulated the environment of like living on Mars. And they basically were in like this pod for a couple of months, and there were women and there were men. And in the study, they found that women communicated more often with each other. And based on the communication between them, they basically said that women are more effective communicators. But then I thought and then people suggested because women are more effective communicators, this would suggest that, on a long journey to Mars, maybe we should only send the women because the women would be better communicators than the men and more likely to handle the stress of being on a ship all alone. And I'm thinking to myself, really, I would really love for them to only send women. Don't send like one man and 3 women, please, or 2. Please only send women. Please only send women to Mars, dude. It would be one of the greatest things in mankind. I would love it so much.
You just imagine them like men build the spaceship and everything. It's all automated. Send like hundreds of women in a spaceship with lots of food and water and a whole tank of semen. So when they get there, they can colonize the planet, but get them to the fucking dirty work. And we can sell it to them through feminism. There's a lot of potential there.
The funny thing is that it's like, honestly, I think that they would literally go absolutely mad. They would rip themselves apart.
They would claw each other's eyes out.
Dude, it would be so truly wonderful if they basically just said all women, because in the end, they basically say men are useless, dude. You know, I watch Naked and Afraid all the time, and they have articles saying that women are stronger than the women on Naked and Afraid are stronger than men. Yet on almost every episode, the men come in with like a higher survival ranking than the women and leave with a higher survival ranking than women. And women are also significantly more likely to drop out. Dude, they say one man, one woman. I keep on wondering, how about this one? Why don't you put two women together on Naked and Afraid and leave them out in the wilderness? Come on, put two women on Naked and Afraid. Let's see how that goes down.
I know, like, why it's so unfair that like females get all their reality TV shows. Like they get like The Bachelor, Married at First Sight, all this bullshit that's like embarrassing for men. Why can't we get like some good reality TV shows that just like embarrass women in a similar way, just show how they suck at certain things and have a good laugh at it?
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely true, dude. Honestly, there's a big market right now also that's growing for alternative media. When I say alternative media, alternative voices that are not coming from a feminist or feminine perspective. I was talking about this, that I think I mentioned on another podcast that Vice just published an article which literally said what everyone knows, despite the fact that liberal media is literally spouting all over NBC and on Twitter and all these other places. On YouTube, conservative media is dominating, and it essentially shows that people are essentially tired of hearing about things from a feminist, female, SJW perspective. There's also a lot of men and women who are desperate for things that are coming from a male perspective, literally from a male perspective that does not have anything to do with feminism, that does not have anything to do with SJWs. I mean, you're seeing that in movies. You're seeing movies like Deadpool that were just outright masculine, like we're just going to shoot everything. And it was one of the greatest movies ever made. I mean, people are literally starving for masculine energy, and that's why, more content as the internet continues to grow. Anything that comes from a male perspective, anything that shows male-based media, women are going to begin deviating to it. I mean, something like 10%, almost 10% of all my viewers are women.
The thing is, notice like the atheist Drew. Atheism is unstoppable. He's like a white male that speaks his mind and isn't ashamed. People like him get banned because feminists run YouTube. Like feminists run, like Jewish feminists run a lot of the social media. So although like if it was naturally left for like conservative, or like, even though he's not a conservative, but for like, anti-feminist opinions to get like more publicity, there's like huge cock blocks in the way. Like it doesn't happen to all the channels, but like there's a certain level that like once you go past a certain level, there's just like all this censorship thrown at you, which like you can be like the most outrageous bra burning feminist that like promotes absolutely like disgusting ideas and is being way more rude towards men than any man would be towards a woman, but she'll be able to have her platform on social media. And there's like millions of girls like that, like the ones that aren't necessarily big channels, that are just like everyday people on Facebook. I got banned from Facebook just for like my own personal account. I got literally banned from Facebook for being a man with an opinion that was being like outward with it. Whereas like it doesn't matter what a female says, no matter how offensive a man might think it is, it's socially accepted by the people that are on social media. So there's huge cock blocks in the way.
Yeah, there are, but the thing is, dude, the thing is that as the internet continues to mature, there are more platforms that are going to become more conservative platforms that are open to free speech that are going to arise, and it is going to happen. I mean, look at what's happening with Donald Trump. Twitter has literally said that they will if they need to, if he violates their terms, they will ban Donald Trump on Twitter. And it's like, dude, no one seems to realize yet that he's actually the president of the United States.
Yeah, they would never ban Barack Obama or a female. They would never ban Hillary Clinton. They would never ban a black guy or a female in that position.
You know,
only a white rich guy.
You know what's funny, dude? I'm happy to like, I'm constantly like tag Trump on Twitter, but I'm like absolutely paranoid to even send an insult to Barack Obama, to call him like, you know, say you suck, because I'm like honestly serious, like that's the environment that we live in. Guy is not even president anymore, and I'm still afraid that they would like flag me for hate speech, and I'd find the FBI knocking on my door. But people literally,
you're gonna fucking drone strike over your house.
Huh? What'd you say?
You get a drone strike over your house.
Dude, Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, actually talked about if they couldn't just drone strike, what was his name? The WikiLeaks guy. They were like, can't we just drone strike this guy? She was serious.
Assange, yeah, right. Yeah, I saw her cracking up laughing when Gaddafi got assassinated. Like, I saw footage of her just cracking up laughing, like, yeah, we got him. It's like, it's the most brutal footage. I don't know if you've seen it. It's just him getting slaughtered. And the reason he got assassinated is because he wanted to convert his country's currency to a gold-backed dinar. So that would have really hurt the American economy in terms of them buying oil off of them. It would have. He wanted to create a replacement for the petrodollar, for what's the gold standard to use to buy oil. So that he was a huge threat to the American economy. And he wasn't like an oppressive dictator from what I've researched. He actually, like, his country had a much higher standard of living before he was assassinated than afterwards, put it that way.
You know, dude, here's the funny thing. I look at something that I keep quoting this thing, and it says basically this. It was I think it was Martin Luther King who said this, that either King or Gandhi. One of them said, no oppressed group can remain oppressed forever. And it's absolutely true. No one can name any oppressed group throughout history
Okay. Cannot hear anything. Can anyone hear me? I don't know what the fuck just happened, but type in the comments if you can hear me. What the fuck? Well, I guess I'll no, silence, it says. We cannot be heard. Hello. Oh my god, I can hear myself. I think it's because we were talking about drones and stuff, so we're getting fucked over by the CIA currently. Maybe just wait for Angry to return. Oh no, it's really awkward. I know what I'll do. Hold on tight.
Yeah, dude, I felt like basically my internet connection just died for a moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when that happens, if that happens, just keep talking and I'll be back. But yeah, dude, what's the last thing you heard me say?
I completely have no idea.
Okay.
I was getting ready to read from my book called Men Are Better Than Women by Dick Masterson. If you're not coming back for a while, I'll just read a chapter from this.
Okay, so I'll just let you go ahead and read the good word.
All right. I'll read, let's see what we got here. Since the beginning of time, men have worked their asses off without any expectation of gratitude. That's because we're men. We worked before we even invented money. Men are driven in a sick way to get the job done at any cost. It's a sickness called competence. If you've ever had a job, you'll have learned two things. Taxes suck, which is no surprise because women invented them, and women can't do anything. Women fuck everything up. Women are like Febreze fabric refreshener, except instead of getting out your toughest odors, they accidentally call their ex-boyfriend drunk and then won't stop crying for the rest of the night. Yeah, he's got some good stuff in here. It's the guy from the Dr. Phil show, the bald guy. I forgot what he says in the Phil show. He's like, I don't hate women. Men are just better. Like, you don't hate your least favorite blouse. You just think the one you're wearing is better. But yeah. What else we got in here? I think you've cut it out again.
Is
there you are.
Is the book you're reading written by Dick Matterson? Women and Men Are Better?
Yeah, Dick Masterson, yeah.
Okay, I definitely gotta put this book in the description because it sounds like an incredible title. Dude, it's like fuck, dude. It has an insane.
Great, I reckon I've laughed out loud about 10 times in the first 20 pages.
On BarnesandNoble.com, out of 3,898 views, it has a 4.5-star rating. Holy cow!
He goes, it's like this chapter at the start. He talks about how women have completely destroyed the following job fields: lawyers, soldiers, doctors, civil servants, teachers, dentists, valets. Talks about how as soon as women started doing these things, that they lost a lot of respect as professions and they stopped making progress.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely true. It's down. This book.
It's written from like 2008, I think. It's like nearly 10 years old, but it's classic. Yeah, 2008.
You know, it's funny because as shit, you know, dude, as shit hits the fan, as women basically wake up from feminism now to the post-feminist era, which is we're entering a post-feminist era. As they wake up, and you know, there's more social welfare programs, but they have all this opportunity, and basically claiming that their victims isn't going to work anymore. It's going to be hilarious watching these women like say they're going to resent feminism hard. They're going to resent it hard. They're going to blame everyone for feminism but themselves. You realize this, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like, it's as soon as like their jobs start getting automated, they're gonna be pissed off and they're gonna have no one to blame but themselves. And like, you know, maybe that won't happen. I don't know, but you know, I think the economy's collapsing, and I think that like a lot of female employment is really a luxury item that when push comes to shove, the economy won't really allow for high volumes of women to work because they're less efficient. So it doesn't make sense if you're in a recession. That's why like big government is making like such a strong final push, like because it's dying because it can't really be sustained.
It's funny because, you know, during the last recession here in the U.S. and even globally, men are the ones who lost their jobs. In the U.S., they called it the he-cession because so many more men lost their jobs than women. But now as so many jobs are becoming automated, women don't even realize it, that over the next 10 years, many of their jobs are going to vanish. Right now, we're literally entering the proto stage. Banks are literally pulling out all the ATMs little by little. They're literally pulling out all the tellers. Most banks you go to, there are only 2 windows now, and all the other windows are replaced by teller machines. And it's funny that you know, I used to think that I needed to go to a bank teller if I wanted to do something like get a cash advance or put money in or do all of these things. To be very honest, it's much faster to go to the ATM, put money into my account through the ATM, take money out through the ATM, even do a cash advance through the ATM. All of this without ever having to interact with a teller, and then the machine does it even more efficiently, which is downright shocking. But I guess it really shouldn't be. And these are jobs that were once held commonly by women, and these jobs are going. Chase Manhattan, people didn't notice that Chase literally got rid of about 5,000 jobs over the course of last year. They started it back in like 2014, 2015, and they got rid of like literally 5,000 teller jobs. And no one noticed this because of the election. Amazon Go is literally working to push out cashiers. The technology is not designed, from what a lot of people are saying, the technology isn't being designed by Amazon to take over the the industry and basically have everyone shop at an Amazon store. The technology is being designed to be licensed. How many places such as Walmart would love to have this technology where they can get rid of the cashiers? I mean, if you go to the average Walmart these days, the most popular checkout lane is the self-checkout at most Walmarts. And they're increasingly moving towards this, where they have like only a handful of people actually checking out groceries, and then everyone else is going through the self-checkout lane. And it's happening at McDonald's too, where literally every McDonald's in the United States this year will be getting a kiosk. And this trend is going to literally, because McDonald's is doing it at every McDonald's in the US now, every fast food restaurant is going to begin adapting this now. Every fast food restaurant. There's going to be a major rush by Burger King to do it. There's going to be a major rush by In-N-Out to do it. Everyone is going to do it, because as soon as the big companies adapt the technology, all the smaller companies immediately begin following. And cashiers, they make up the second largest, either the largest or the second largest group of employment. And with those jobs being, disappearing, women are going to have many fewer options. Like you said, that female work it's kind of a luxury item, and the economy is not going to be able to afford it. The lucrative 9-to-5 jobs, those are all going to disappear, except for a couple. And the only people who are going to get 9-to-5 jobs in the future are going to be people who have like a multitude of different skills and actually can produce. And it's not going to be women.
Definitely not. Oh man, yes, interesting conversation. But I better wrap it up, man. I'm exhausted actually, so I'm gonna bring little value from here on in, because I'm about to fall asleep. It's quite late here.
Okay, all right. So I mean, it was definitely a great convo. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Should men avoid sex with women entirely, and should men avoid sex with women entirely and push for gender segregation? Let us know what you think in the comment section. Definitely check out the Holds Bar channel. Do you still have any content on that or not?
I've just got a couple of videos that link to my other channel, which is on minds.com, Dick the Prick. And I'll also be uploading onto YouTube on that account before it's banned again as well for a little while.
Okay, so definitely check out his channel. I'll try to get a link to it in the account in the description section. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you liked the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to Mgtow or death. And cheers.